Today, in our practical session on Scribus, we are going to learn how to create a text box inside Scribus, how to import text into the text box. Then number two, how to create or draw a image box or a image frame inside Scribus, and then how to import a image into the frame, how to resize the image or the frame so that both of these features are aligned with each other, and then how we are going to save this document. So let us go and open Scribus. The version I am using is 1.48, that is a recent stable version. So I have double clicked the Scribus. The new document window has opened. Now it asks me how many pages I want. Since it is going to be a demonstration, so I just stick on to the default one page, and then the sizes I prefer A4 because it gives me some space to play around with, and then orientation I'm going to leave it as portrait. That's the default orientation. Then I'm going to give a OK. Now you see the page layout has been formed, and then here you see these grid lines, green and blue. Usually when you start your Scribus, these lines will not be visible. For that to happen, you need to go to the file and document setup and enable grid lines. So that enabling and disabling grid lines, we will do it in a subsequent session. The advantages of these grid lines is it gives you a orientation of the size of the object, the place where you are going to place these objects. So these grids really help you to align various objects inside a page. Now how are we going to draw a text box within this Scribus page? Here the text box in Scribus parlance is also known as text frame, because Scribus is actually a frame based software. So this is actually the toolbar which you see here. My mouse pointer is pointing towards a toolbar. The easiest way to draw a text box is go here. This is actually insert text frame. The moment you keep the cursor, it tells you what function that tool is going to perform. So you just click here, and then as soon as you click it, the mouse cursor turns into plus. Plus indicates you can draw, and the small text frame is also displayed for purpose. Then here slowly you can see the x-axis and y-axis being displayed in points. So now I'm by default, when you start to draw a text box in Scribus, it will be in a rectangular format. So you can, nothing stops you from drawing other shapes, but the default shape in Scribus actually a rectangle. So for the time being, let us let us confine ourselves to the default rectangle. In our later practical sessions, we will go and see how to create specific various shaped images. Now I have managed to draw the text box, and now here you see handles. These handles, the red pointer here is one handle, 2, 3, 4, all 4 handles, 6. See, all the edges have handles. Now if you keep the cursor here, it will demonstrate the active handle. So you can pull the text box using this active handle. The presence of this grid helps you to align this text box to the small squares which are displayed inside the software. So now I managed to increase the size of the text box by pulling these handles. Now here when I keep the cursor, this cursor resembles a hand. It takes the shape of a hand. So what exactly it means? If the cursor resembles the shape of the hand, it is ready to move the text box. See, when the cursor becomes a hand, you can use it to move the text box to various positions. So similarly, you can also reduce the size of the text box by going to the edge or the handle. The moment you go to reach the handle, the cursor takes a form of a double arrow. So just pull it down, it becomes smaller. So here, then similarly the corners. So let me reduce the size of the text box for the time being. Now this is actually that we have managed to create a text box, and then we have managed to resize the text box. We have managed to move the text box to the desired position. These are all the things which I have managed to do now. So let me draw the text box a little bit. And there are other ways of creating text boxes too. This is the easiest way, that is a toolbar. Here there is one more way you can do it. You can go to insert. There you will be shown different frames. So you can use the insert text frame here. When you click the insert text frame, it performs the same function as the insert text box toolbar function. So you see the same thing has happened to the cursor if you go to insert and then insert text frame. So I have used the toolbar function here to create the text frame. So now I have created a text frame. Now I am keeping the cursor inside. I am right clicking. So right clicking opens up a few menu. So I want to populate this text frame with some text. So I am going to get text. Get from where I have already created a sample text using Notepad. So I am going to import text from the Notepad. Click OK. So now you see that text has been imported into the text box. But here you see a small into here red. This tells me that not all the text which I have imported has been shown inside this box, because the size of the box is smaller than the quantity of text that needs to be imported. So that is the reason why this red box is shown here. So let us not bother about that red box. So in our subsequent practical sessions, we will learn how to get over this problem. So initially our intention now is to first create a text box, learn how to move the text box around, and then how to resize the text box, and then how to populate the text box with some sample text. So that we have managed to perform now. Now the second step is what we are going to do is we need to insert a image box or an image frame. So next to the text box inside the toolbar, there is a image frame, insert image frame. You click here and then it gives you a image frame. So now the image frame has been drawn inside the layout window. Now I'm going to, all you got to do is keep your cursor inside, double click it. Here you will get a, we'll import a image. For example, we'll do something like this. So here what has happened is the image is bigger than the size of the text box. So you have two options, either to increase the size of the text box to accommodate the image, or you can reduce the size of the image to fit into the text box. So I just want to try out something. Here I double click and then start moving the text box around and see whether I can focus the image inside. So it is not possible. So what I will do is, after trying to move the image within the text box and I'm not able to make the image be visualized in total within the text, within the image frame. Sorry that I am using the terminology text box. This is actually an image frame. So now what I will do is, I have only two options. I can either increase the size of the text box. This is actually done by selecting the text box by clicking once on it. You get the handles. Then you can pull the handle the same way as you did it for your text box or text frame. So now I try to increase the size of the image frame, but still my image is larger than the image frame. So what I will do is I will attempt to shrink the image to fit the box. So I'm right clicking on it, and then here adjust image to frame. You have these options of adjust frame to image or adjust image to frame. Since we want the image to be shrunken to fit the frame, I'm going to choose adjust image to frame. So the moment I choose adjust image to frame, you can see the entire image has been shrunken to fit into the text box. But what has happened is, see, the text box has slightly become bigger because to maintain the proportionality of the image, what has happened is, this is actually a more or less a square image, and the dimensions of the image does not fit exactly into the text box. So now you see some white space here. How are we going to get over it? Either you have the option of just aligning the white space with the image, that is easy, or you can just right click and adjust. If you click adjust frame to image, it will adjust beautifully. So now we have learned how to create or draw the image frame inside Scribus, how to import a image into the image frame, how to resize the image so that it will fit into the image frame, then how to make the image frame fit into the contour of the image. All these things we have completed. Now I will show you one other way of creating or drawing an image frame. Here you go, say same thing, go to insert, then insert image frame. The moment you click insert image frame, the cursor will take the form of, it shows beautifully the plus indicates the cursor is ready for the drawing, and then icon for image is revealed. So this is this. So before we conclude, we should save this document. So your Scribus gives you various options to save this document. But before we attempt to save this document, I want every one of you to know this simple fact. When you save the document, the saved document will contain only the text. I repeat again, the saved document will contain only the text. The formatting which you have used to create the text, it will contain the details of the image frame, but the image will not be saved. The link of the image alone will be stored inside the file. So since the link of the image alone is going to be stored in the saved file, it is imperative that you save all the images which you are going to use inside the Scribus document into a single folder, and you name the folder as per your project name. Supposing you are going to author a book, it is always prudent to name the folder as a, you name the folder as, you give the folder name which is close to the title of the book. You need not make it a big title, at least you should be able to associate the folder with the title of the book. So all the resources like images, your other resources like tables, all these things should be stored inside the same folder. And also you ensure that you save the project into the same folder so that your Scribus will not have any problems getting and displaying the images. Supposing you are going to just save the Scribus work on a desktop, just say on the desktop without creating the folder for images, what is likely to happen is when you copy that file and go to another computer and now open, it won't reveal your images. Or if you change the name of the file again, you need to create all the links for the images you have used. So to avoid all this problem, you should save all the resources into a single folder. So how we are going to save? So go to file and then save as. If you give save, it will just give you, ask for a name for the document. You just give a name. For example, hearing aid. I am going to give it hearing aid. So it just saves the document as .sla inside my document folder. So that is done. Then another option is you can use save as. So suppose if you use save as, this provides you the ability to add the name for the file. Supposing if you have already assigned a name for the file, if you just click here inside the toolbar save, it will save. But why there is another link, another item known as save as? Supposing you want to save the same file under a different name. Supposing you want to rename and save the file, you go to save as and then you give it another name, change the name and then save it at another location. That is possible. So that is the reason why the save as button is given. Again, you can you after completion of the work, you may want to use the same page layout, same text bars and toolbars, and the same text frames and image frames for your subsequent manuscripts. So you can choose save as template so that this project can be accessed when you want to create your future work. And then there is something called collect for output. Supposing you choose collect for output, here you can name the directory. Here we will create a directory called hearing aid, and then inside the document folder you just give a OK. What it does is it saves all the files, it saves all the resources that has been used to create this document. For example, I have warned you that image files won't be saved when you just give a save, but here if you give this option as collect for output, it just ensures that and the entire resources that has been used to in the creation of this document are saved into a single folder. So this single folder can be copied and moved to another computer and you can start working on it without any problem. So it is actually a collection of all the resources you have used, all the images, tables and texts and all these things which you have used inside your document will be collected and will be organized inside a folder. You just copy that folder on a removable drive, you can take it to another system and start working on it. So that is how you can do it. Now the next is file. You can always do a print preview. So what happens is it wants that there is a issue. What is the issue? Here we saw into the text is not fitting into the text frame. It says that there is so much text which cannot be displayed because your text frame is small. That is what it wants me. But I am going to give ignore all errors. I am going to see. So this is how my PDF is going to look. This is how my PDF is going to look. So what I will do is I will just click the file and then export. You can export the document into all these formats: EPS, PDF, image format, SVG. So these are all the various formats in which you can export your document. The commonly exported format happens to be save as image. Supposing you want to print your document, if you want to send the document to the printer, if you want to send the document to a printer, it has got to be in high resolution. So you use the save as image feature to ensure that your printer gets the highest resolution possible for the document to be printed. Again, if you can choose a save as PDF, again the verifier wants you, pre-flight verifier wants you that all the text have not been displayed because your text frame is small. So I am just going to give ignore all errors. It is going to, where it's going to save inside the document folder, there is one folder known as hearing aid and then hearing aid PDF. That is the name of the file. So I am going to, so what I will do is, for the sake of convenience, I will save it to my desktop so that we can open it immediately and see the result. Now I have preferred to save the document, export the document to my desktop. So I am exporting, saving rather. So what I will do is I will search where the document is. Let me see, here is the document. Let me open it. So now I am opening the document. Let us see how it has come out. See, this is the end result of your work which has been demonstrated in PDF format. So as a recap, what all we have done? We have managed to open the Scribus. We have managed to draw or create a text frame. We have managed to import sample text. We have managed to import sample text and populate the text frame, and then we have managed to draw an image frame, and then we have managed to import an image into the image frame, and then we have managed to resize the image to fit the frame. And we have also gone ahead and ensure that the frame fits the image so that it will be a good fit. So that we have managed to do. Then we have found out the act of saving the document. Various options have been demonstrated how to save the document. Document by default is saved in .sla format, and that format, mind you, I have already warned you, again I repeat, that it will save only the text, the format of the text, the font used on the text, and the image frames will be saved, but the image will not be saved. The image will be saved as a link to the original file. So the moment if you want to take the same file out to work on a different system, or if you rename the file, what can happen is your link to the image will get broken, and the image won't be displayed in their appropriate image frames. So then you got to manually link these images and create a file. So that will be a very arduous task. For that, in order to avoid this, it is always better to keep all your resources into a single folder, and you save also this .slf file inside this .sla file into the same folder, so that all the resources will be available in a single folder. And then we found out the option of exporting all these files into various formats. So we can export, if you want the document to be printed, you can export it to a high resolution image format, or you can convert the entire document into a PDF format. So PDF format you can electronically distribute. So that is all for today. I want every one of you to try out these things and ensure that you get all of them exactly what in the same order, so that you will be able to work on your document